I cut this slab out of some Persian turquoise because I saw the pyrite in it. I didn't realize it had this much of the white stuff in it. Is it even possible to cut anything clean out of this? Or should we even try? We're going to keep this piece like this, but let's cut up another piece and see what we can do. Welcome. I'm going to spin you around. What we have is some Persian turquoise with some pyrite in it. It's also got some other inclusions in it, so the struggle here is going to be to get a clean cut with some cool pyrite that'll polish up and like some cool stones. I got 4 pieces here. We're going to try and see if we can cut them. Alright, so here's the 4 pieces we're going to try. Let me see. Let me grab a couple pieces and show you what we're trying for. Hold on just one second. So here's 2 that I already tried to cut. I've already cut. As you can see, that pyrite really polishes up nice and it looks cool. But what this stone has in it is a ton of this. It's mostly this lighter colored matrix. I'm trying to find some pieces that are mostly turquoise and pyrite with minimal amounts of that. For obvious reasons, that kind of looks like a bird crapped on my turquoise. But I think there's the potential we can cut maybe some smaller stones that have just the pyrite and the turquoise in them. And let's see what we can get out of these 4. Let's start with... We've got 4 chances here. This one's got a lot of pyrite in it. On this side, a lot of the crap rock on this side. We might go for freeform, just trying to cut out as much of the undesirable host rock as we can. Kind of cutting around and I'm getting it to where I have a slight angle toward the top of my cab. Obviously I have a better chance on this side than this side, but we might get into some better down here. We got a chance because the angle's up. I might just be able to cut a little bit of that right there out. So I'm trying to, I don't think I'm going to get anything that have any of the white rock in there, the white host rock. But I'm trying to get cut stones that have minimal amounts of that and maximize the amount of really cool iron pyrite, fool's gold. Really polishes up cool. I've seen some really cool looking cabs out of this type of material. So this material right here, I actually drove to a rock shop that was about an hour away from where I was this weekend. I called them and they said, oh yeah, we got gobs of turquoise rough. They drove an hour and got there and they didn't have a whole lot. And most of what they had was garbage. So I overpaid for what they did have, but I thought was interesting. I've got a couple stones that have cut really nice. I should have videoed those, but I was just kind of testing to see what we got. I'll show you those probably. We might set one of them tonight. This material does need to be backed once I cut it. I pried on a piece once I cut it thin and it just snapped right in half. It is kind of soft. I don't think it's stabilized. So I think it will need to be stabilized before it'll be tough enough to be set. Alright. So at least have turquoise and pyrite matrix through most of that. Little piece that comes up right here doesn't have any. But I can't minimize that entirely. So all the gem shows going on down in Tucson and Quartzsite and all those, they got my turquoise supplier. He's busy there and he's not shipping. He doesn't ship from his warehouse, obviously, because he's not at his warehouse. So I didn't have any turquoise rough to cut. That's why I started asking around, and someone said, oh, this rock shop carries it. So I called them, and this is what they had. This and This is Persian turquoise, and then they had a little bit of Kingman turquoise, which I've cut a couple stones out of. It's decent. It's cutting decent. Alright, so that's that one. That's how, of course, we're going to go on this stone. We may end up cutting that down further, but until we polish it up and see how it looks, we won't even know really how it looks. So there's one. This one right here is, wow, it's a lot of, let's give us a shape that we can work with. I can kind of live with that. Doesn't have to be a calibrated cut. I'm starting to work the dome down in, and just to see if I can expose any more desirable material. If I do, I'll keep going down, and if I don't, I'll stop going down. I don't want to accentuate the less desirable material if it starts pulling that into it, so I'm just kind of playing it by ear. That right there being the less desirable material. And that's what this one is primarily, unfortunately. Alright, there's number 2. How about this one right here? I think this one might be a decent chance. Get our angle we need for setting. I'm working on some. There we go. Look at how cool that pyrite is. I don't know if you can see it, but cool, different type of turquoise. You can get pyrite in a lot of different turquoise. Kingman sometimes have pyrite in it. So far, I'm thinking this one is giving us our best chance at a nice stone. I don't see anything but crap in this corner, so I'm cutting it back a little bit. I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. So that's pulling up more turquoise. That's the first one I go on this wheel. I think we've got a chance with that one of cutting something decent. One more here. This one I cut the tip off the stone thinking that this one's actually got, I think, another good chance. I think this one has less pyrite, but it also has less of that undesirable host rock in it. What can we get here? And this has got an ugly shape to it. Yeah, there's not a lot of pyrite in this one, unfortunately. This end. Still may cut a usable cab out of it though. Trying to get a more desirable shape here. The best corner is that corner right there, so I hate to cut it off and make a nice oval out of this, but you reach a point where you either have to be freeform or you have to go calibrated. And if you start getting close to calibrated in your freeform, it looks like you screwed up your calibrated cut rather than like a freeform, which is kind of how this one looks. But again, some of these we may end up recutting a little bit, cutting down the size, but this is more to explore and see what they look like polished up. So let's take these to the next wheel and see what we end up with. Start right back with one we just had. Start taking out the grind marks from the last wheel. This will be interesting. It's got a lot of turquoise in that yellow matrix. It just kind of depends. Sometimes you never know how the matrix is going to look until you actually polish it. Sometimes the matrix can really improve with polishing, and sometimes it actually gets uglier. The turquoise usually always looks better with polishing. Alright, there's one ready. It was definitely going to have a big old piece of pyrite right in the middle of it, right in the face. Some on the side here. That pyrite's a little bit tougher to polish. I got to make sure I got all the scratches out of it. It's a little bit harder. Okay, there's two. I really don't know how these are going to turn out. I don't know what they're going to look like until they're polished. They may look like hot garbage. They may be nice. Last one. I think this one's looking like our best one at this point. At least for what I thought I was wanting to get in it. Got a lot of pyrite, a lot of yellow, and a little bit of turquoise. I don't know what it's going to look like. You guys are coming along with me to see if I paid $100 for this piece of turquoise. I mean, I got 3 or 4 cuts off of it. This is what you're looking at here is about half maybe of the cabs that should come out of it, but this is about what they're all going to look like. So if these don't turn out, the chances of any of it turning out are not great. Until I cut into it and cut it into slabs, I didn't realize just how much of this yellow rock was in it. And I probably shouldn't have bought it, but I did. And we're going to see what we can get out of it. It's all a learning experience. All right, let's get that ready for polish. All right, clean buffing wheel, a little bit of Zam. I think I might start it. All right. I started all these lightly on the other rougher, slightly rougher wheel, just because I think the pyrite takes a little bit more polish. So we'll polish the pyrite first, and then the turquoise and the other host rock, kind of as the order I did it. At least just from doing those other two, I noticed that the pyrite takes a little bit more time to polish than just turquoise by itself does. Part of that is I haven't taken it down to a real fine grit, and it's a little bit harder, so. Just kind of a first look at it. Not wiped off, still got compound on it, and not good light, but you can see where that pyrite can really pop. Alright, there's the first one. I'll bring you back and we'll look at all of them. Alright, so tell me what you think. Here's the first two that I cut. I actually have backed these two. Marked them with a P for Persian. Turquoise and pyrite. And some other rock in it. And then the ones we just cut, from my least favorite to the most favorite. This one right here has one little piece of turquoise in the middle with some cool pyrite in the middle of that turquoise. Other than that, it's just all junk rock. A little bit on that corner right there. Not a whole lot. This one right here has more turquoise and more pyrite, but it's such a mess that it's hard to see any of it. That one might be worth recutting to see if it clears up at all. This one right here's got the most pyrite in it. Got that rock right there in the middle, but quite a bit of pyrite and some turquoise throughout all of it. Heavy on the pyrite. And probably the best one of the four we cut. The turquoise is clearer. There's pyrite, but not a ton of it. That one right there might be the most likely one for me to actually choose to set. If I did that, I would cut it down a little bit thinner and back it. I left them fairly thick just because, like I said, this material can be a little bit brittle. Would you set that stone? Do you like it? Tell me what you think. Thanks for watching. Alright, here to end the video. I cut this one after. This was actually one that was split in half. Cut like that, but the two pieces ended up cutting differently. I backed them both with some JB weld just to protect them. This one was plenty thick enough, but this one wouldn't have been. But this one ended up with, it's really hard to get on camera. This one ended up with a cool amount of that pyrite in it. See, there you go. You can see it. All the way through that black matrix is pyrite. It's hard to photograph and incredibly hard to get on camera. But it looks cool. This one doesn't have quite as much in it, but it's got it, well, I guess it does, in all the black matrix. All that black matrix is black on pyrite, which is way cool. This was sold as Kingman in the Kingman bin. Whether it is or not, I don't know, but that's what it was sold as Kingman. Tell me what you think of those two. We finally got some with the pyrite that didn't have a bunch of junk in it, and I like those two. This one might get cut slightly different, but those will both be set as pendants. Anyway, that's what the pyrite looks like when it looks good to me.